Greetings everyone, this is Lodrik and today we coming back to the match against Jochen in the game War in the Pacific Admirals Edition. And today we check the 14th December 1941. So we are now 1 week in the war. Only 1 week, but already so many things happened. Luckily for me, I lost no military equipment up to now, but at least 3 good of my cargo ships, and of course 1 dozen smaller support equipment. But up to now, nothing really critical and not possible to replace for the Japanese. So we will find out how we can survive this day. So the border town switched back to Japanese control. Was helpful, but not much real meaning. There's no industry, nothing really with value. The Dutch submarine attacked my destroyers. My destroyers trying to hunt the submarine. Small Dutch short-range submarine here. And we can see, this is only a little hard. I mean, you must read the text. You can see that my destroyer using now anti-aircraft guns to attack the submarine. So the submarine is not underwater. It's a on surface operating submarine. So this submarine cannot dive more. It has enough or too much flotation damage, so I don't know, 40 or 50 flotation damage. Then the submarine cannot dive more, and so it is forced to stay on the surface, and it's of course it's easy picking. Means I can now completely destroy the submarine. And the sub is officially dead now. I mean, this is now really a dead submarine. It's a good start. Okay. This is now a long-range Dutch submarine, luckily with no hit against my minesweeper destroyers, but I also cannot find the submarine. Okay. These are now my long-range submarines, but no hit on this DM. I don't know more what is a DM. Here we have a American standard destroyer against a Japanese sub again. Nothing happened. No, really nothing happens. No torpedoes, nothing. So the night was, I would not say inactive, but I mean, at least one submarine from the Dutch Navy gets killed. Helpful for me, but also not really meaningful for in the long run. And again, some sub hunters against the submarine. But no hit. Okay. Unluckily, also my torpedoes cannot hit the target. And I am running here sooner or later out of torpedoes. I mean, 2 torpedoes. I think this kind of these are the big long range submarines. I think they're carrying 6, 12, I think 18 torpedoes in total. So 2 from 18 torpedoes. Yeah. Again, the sub attack. Again, nothing. So this turn is a complete failure of my submarine fleet, but also a complete failure for Jochen's his sub hunter. And now we have here the, I don't know if the biggest, but one of the biggest Navy engagement I had so far in the war. The only unlucky situation is that somehow my Japanese task force is surprised. I'm not sure why. But we will see how this find out. And here is just in the moment. I think this is maybe some surprise bonus. The Allies get, I think, 1 free salvo. So every Allied ship, I think, can at least hit once. And Mutsu get already some 6-inch and 8-inch hits here. And I asked this already on Discord, and this is a big question. How many 6 or 8-inch shells it needs to sink a battleship. These are both Nagato class battleships, so these are the most modern Japanese battleships before the Yamatos enter the service. I think these are 45,000 ton ships, similar to Bismarck class. So the big question is normally, I wouldn't say it like this, a 6 and an 8-inch means 15 and 20 centimeter shells. It's normally impossible for this kind of shells to penetrate any battleship armor. But the battleship still have something like unprotected area. So if it's simply the amount of shells hit the battleship is maybe so high that everything gets destroyed, what is not protected by the belt armor, then maybe the battleship is also crippled. But we will see how this plays out. And of course I have here also 4 support destroyers, and they have no armor, so yeah, and we are here also, by the way, in super close. This is close range for a day fight, 6,000 yards. So I'm here in range of torpedo attacks. And there is the next 8-inch shell, but again, belt armor hit, but no penetration. And here is my 16-inch or 40 centimeter shell hit a light cruiser Dragon. And I would say a light cruiser can handle maximum 2, maybe 3 16-inch grenades. Heavy cruiser maybe 1 more. This is the only really problem of the Nagatos is the limited amount of shells in transport. I think I don't know how the game calculated. I think it was 10 shells forward firing, and for the 2 turrets, I think. Well, I'm not more sure if every turret have 10 shells or these 2 together have 10 shells. But something like this, it's not really an unlimited amount of shells as battleships. So if they are, my battleships are now here so outclassed and so many enemies, then my battleships will simply run out of ammunition before I can finish here something. But at least I land one more 16-inch hit on a light cruiser. And more 6-inch hit my battleships. But this you will read now here many times. Belt armor hit. And this simply only says that the shell cannot penetrate the armor and bones off. And nothing happens. The next heavy hit on the Reuter. And in very short time, one more hit the Reuter. But my destroyer is getting here. I only can hope that this heavy amount of the support destroyers attacking not my battleships with the torpedoes. And so far I know is this related a little to the support role. Like these are battleships, and I have here at least normally for every battleship 2 support ships, so 2 destroyers, and they normally have something like more like a, if I understand it right, something like a cover chance. So if an enemy want to attack the battleships and maybe they are forced, they cannot attack the battleship because there is a destroyer in the way, and then it's a torpedo attack on the destroyer, and the destroyer is of course much more, can more easily avoid a target, or the chance to hit the destroyer with a torpedo is simply much smaller than a battleship. Unluckily, this also counts for the other side, so my destroyers can also land no hit on anything what is big and slow. So, and you can see that there's only a different name. The next 16-inch on the Reuter, and I think this is enough. Normally this is really too much. 3 heavy hits for a light cruiser. Now number 4. Maybe the ship cannot sink fast enough. Only maybe because maybe some don't understand this American names. Now the Reuter is going down. So some of the ships, they have a 4-inch guns, and a 4-inch I think is 10.5 centimeter. Then the Japanese have some ships with 12 centimeter. This is something like I think like a 4.5, 4.7 inch gun. But the standard Japanese destroyers all have 5-inch guns. This is then 12.7 centimeter or 127 centimeter. And 6-inch is 15 centimeter. And 8-inch is 203 millimeter. So the battleships here have 40 centimeter or 405 I think millimeter guns. So they always had here. So next heavy hit on a light cruiser. So my battleships really, they find the target and they can normally land here one hit after the next. The problem is only that I'm running out of ammunition here. These are simply too many ships for only 2 battleships. And my destroyers cannot create a torpedo hit. If I would now create here 1 or 2 torpedo hits on the heavy units, then this would be all much easier. But no, somehow I think in this whole game it was not possible for me to land 1 torpedo hit with my surface task forces. My submarines, they can create hit one after the next. But my long lens torpedoes, they failing so far. I don't know how is the tonnage, because if my 2 battleships have both 45,000 tons, so this is 90,000 tons. Every destroyer I think is here maybe 1,000 or 1,500, so maybe if this is 2,000 tons plus 2,000 tons, so let's say these are 5,000 tons, the destroyers, plus 90,000 for the battleships, so I have roughly a fleet of 95,000 tons. And the Reuter was maybe, I think all of these light cruisers are like 7,000 tons, so maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 times 7, maybe these are 40,000, similar to 1 battleship. The Houston's I think 9,000. And then here many destroyers, everyone is 1,000, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 11, 12, 13, so 13,000 plus the Houston, it's maybe together also 20,000. So I would normally say that my fleet is around 95,000 tons and the Allied fleet is maybe like 80,000 tons, so the tonnage advantage is normally with me. But the number of guns and torpedoes is of course heavily in favor for the Allies in this situation. But if all the 6 and 8 inch shells now trying to sink a battleship and all of this stuff will bounce off, then it's meaningless. And every 16 inch or 40 centimeter hit on a light cruiser or heavy cruiser have very high chance to create a lot of damage. So only the Java is so far without damage. All other light cruisers, heavy cruisers have at least some damage. But the Mutsu is I think running out of ammunition already. Now using the heavy flak guns. This is a 5 inch. The main battery of a destroyer is a secondary battery and anti-flak stuff from the battleships. Not the secondary battery, but the heavy anti-aircraft equipment. Because the battleships, they have a secondary armament is 14 centimeter. This is the same guns they're using at the Japanese light cruisers, more or less. At least the caliber is the same. I think the Mutsu created a lot of hits so far, but the Nagato is a little in the wrong position here in this battle and cannot really bring the full potential to the table. wipe here one or two more like cruisers fast away. But in this kind of battle, I only fear normally that some shitty lucky torpedo hit my battleships. And if the first torpedo hit slow down my battleship, then the next torpedo normally will create a serious problem. And I'm so far away from every port with a shipyard. So if I get now here flotation damage, then I have really a problem. But so long I only see here 6-inch, 8-inch hitting my belt armor and then nothing happens and it's okay. So I got to use now the secondary artillery 14 centimeter, but 14 centimeter against a heavy cruiser is normally too less. So belt armor, deck armor, there's no way that any of these shells can penetrate these battleships. So I had here some surface damage more or less on the Houston with my 14 centimeter guns. This can also happen against my battleships. So everything what is not protected. So if it's hit something secondary tower, or maybe I don't know how the game really calculates this, but there is still some stuff on the ship what is not protected by the deck armor or the belt armor or tower armor or main tower, because I think only this kind of stuff have armor, all the rest have no armor. So, and this will normally then always create something like system damage. But normally I think it cannot be major damage, only something like surface damage. Every port can normally fix this. It's also good to see that at least some of my destroyers can hit some. I mean, 2-3 of these destroyers of the Allied forces also at least damage. If I remember right, last time I think it was 7 or 8 of my 5-inch shells was needed to sink a destroyer. I think it was very strange because I would normally say 4 or 5 hits is the maximum it needs. A destroyer have no armor, so you only need simply hit something what is important, like engine to hit is always good. Yeah. I'm just boiling some water. It's still so hot here. Every day 37 degree nearly. So I must drink more, drink more, drink more. And the battle is still not over. I watched this the first time. I was always thinking in the last moment there's some shitty torpedo hit. I don't know if it still happened. But I would still say, even if the tonnage is with me, but the numbers are simply against me, I'm a little surprised how well my units can hold here the line. But this is really heavily related to that the Allies are not able to create a torpedo hit so far. And of course that the light and heavy cruisers, they focus all the fire on my battleships. Of course, these are the big targets. All these destroyers are only 6 points or 7 points value ship. And the Mutsu and the Nagato are, I don't know, 200, 220, 250 points. But again, only a heavy flak hit on the Houston. I need something more powerful. Ah, there's a 16-inch cell. And the Houston, of course, penetrates the armor. Critical hit. But no explosion. But at least something make damage here. Like I said, this is one of the biggest, or maybe the biggest Navy battle I ever had in this game so far. And I was, and must be said that I was surprised that here so many Navy fighting units from Jochen still. I thought that most of the stuff is normally in Java. I expected here 2 or 3 cruisers and maybe 4, 5, 6 destroyers. But this is really all of the Dutch, British and American fleet what is left. The Boise already destroyed, but so this is really everything what is possible for the Allies to have early on in this area. In best case, if I can wipe out this fleet or cripple them, then there's really nothing left more to stop me. Only Air Force. But I first must get rid of them, or at least cripple them, because normally if I cripple them, so I have never enough capacity to handle this kind of the numbers and this amount of tonnage to repair. I mean, not in this short time. If you have 1 year, you can fix it, but if you have only 1 month or 2 months, maximum 3 months, then you can only make emergency repair. But from Surabaya, the next shipyard is normally Cape Town, maybe Perth. But Perth have a very small shipyard, and so it must need first heavy investment. So it's not easy. So all my ships are burning now. So there's nothing left what is not on fire. But all heavy units for the Allies are also on fire, and also half of the destroyers. So, and the task forces are still engaging and disengaging. So it's not that someone give up here. Japanese commander and Allied commander are still fighting here to the last shell. I'm not sure if this is really so clever for my, because normally if a battleship is out of ammunition for the main battery, I would simply always ask disengage, because a battleship is built to use the main battery, and everything else is only a support role. But maybe my Japanese commander won't fight to the bitter end, and even if they are completely outnumbered. These are Japanese. Maybe sometimes they are follow too much of the rules without not understanding that there's maybe a next day coming. And for a range of 8,000, I have the feeling that there are far too less hits. I mean, 8,000 is really very close range for a Second World War engagement normally. But maybe it is also related that all my ships are burning, so they are hard to see the enemy. And the Allied ships are all not well trained. And there's still torpedoes in the water. But still no torpedo hit in this whole battle. And still 8-inch, 6-inch. Hitting tower, hitting belt armor, hit the deck. And this is now a little unlucky, or I would say it of course makes sense, but a little late in the game that somehow the Java make a decision and say, yeah, let's attack the destroyer, not the battleship. And a 15-inch, 15 centimeter, 6-inch shell is of course always deadly for a destroyer. This is exactly what kills the destroyer. So now the Japanese commander really say, okay, it's enough. Out here. I only hope that out of this engagement my two battleships and the destroyers, if they're surviving this, getting at least some experience points, so that in future engagement they have a higher chance to hit something or avoid something. So one more 5-inch hit. Second, but 5 inches is not enough. But 40 centimeter hit is of course nice. So heavy damage here. One more big hit on the Houston. So the Houston is, I think, now also at least for 1 month in the shipyard. And not only in the shipyard, somehow the Houston is going down. Nicely done. So I think this was Nagato. With one of the last heavy shells maybe. And now it's really strange that the Java simply really had no hit at all. No hits more. Already 17,000 yards. This is a much more common distance, I would say, for Second World War. Java still had no hit. And somehow really a Dutch destroyer can create out of 20,000 yards a hit on my destroyer. And again, this is nearly impossible, but somehow but we are now already at 25,000 yards, so I think the end is near. This is out of range for destroyers normally, so only the battleships and the cruisers can maybe still engage each other. And now it's over. So I really don't know.
You fighting orphans of the Pacific. This is your favorite enemy, Orphan Anne, at Radio Tokyo, with music to lift your spirits and words to depress your morale. But first, Imperial General Headquarters announced today that the Imperial Navy has achieved another great victory near Balikpapan, with the sinking of 2 carriers, a battleship, and numerous cruisers and destroyers.
So, somehow we had a real success here. I don't know about the battleships, I don't know about the carriers, but the numerous cruisers are for sure dead. So Mutsu had now 42 impact shell hits. From this 42, maybe, I don't know, 36 bonds off without any meaning, but 6 maybe had a surface and structure damage, so in creating heavy fires. The Nagato only ask what happens. So I have here now 2 destroyers are heavily in damage. The rest is all fire. Fire is not good, yeah, but so long you don't have heavy damage with heavy fires, it's normally not a big issue. For the allies, it is the Houston go down, that's for sure. The De Ruyter is dead for sure. And one more light cruisers is heavily damaged and heavy fires, and for sure out of action or maybe already dead soon. Then you have here also fire, so needs always repair. So, but this is all, so it's not a complete victory for me, but I would say 1 heavy cruiser and 2 light cruisers are dead and 3 or 4 destroyers are crippled. And I have 2 crippled destroyers. Naja, we will see at the end of the turn. But for sure my battleships are out of ammunition, so it makes no sense to continue this battle here. Good, this we know. Destroyer, hunt, submarine, nothing happens. This was a navy activity. So we had only 1 big navy battle, but we had this was a big navy battle. Now we have scouting. And I use my zeros to sweep, but it's really... I was not sure if there's maybe was a misinformation for my recon airplane, but my recon airplane says there's no enemy airplane more in Clarkfield, and if I see now again no airplane, so I would say okay. And I also choose to send some zeros from Kuantan to this base north of Singapore, simply to lure out some fighters and get rid of them. And normally we will know that zeros and buffaloes, they like each other, but only the buffaloes, I mean, the zeros like the buffaloes, but not the buffaloes the zeros. We can see this immediately, the kill and the damage airplane. Most important is normally that I don't lose my zeros, and how many buffaloes I can kill is more better, but It will also normally force to maybe retreat all these air forces or ground them because they can normally not battle zeros. So still some buffaloes left, but not so many. Yeah, of course, there's some British pilots that I don't get it, and they're coming up in a lost battle only to get maybe with high potential gets killed. At least maybe the pilot can survive, but the airframe is lost. Ah, yeah. Oh, still. He still won't fight. Now he can. A little nearly boring fight because it was so clear that my Zeros will win this battle. This was really only a question of how many Zeros I will lose and how many Buffaloes I can kill. Now my Oscars are coming. So this is 1B edition, 1 light machine gun, 1 heavy machine gun. So this kind of Oscars, they can fight Buffaloes, yeah, this is okay. This is equal ship. I mean, the airframe is equal maybe. But of course, these are elite pilots from the Japanese. So not the best, but good army pilots. On a very similar level to the Zeros. And I can also kill this airplane. But only 1 airplane left. And all the rest is coming, but nothing to kill. Also here, Philippines. And here are 2 I-15s, so I-15s, I think they don't have really, they have only 2 light machine guns, or I think 2 or 4 light machine guns. And there are also mechanical issues. and for sure they are slow. So with I-15s, I-16s, you will normally not stop the better Japanese bomber formations. And on the way out, nothing happened. So a little damage, but not important. But it shows me again that Jochen uses Chinese Air Force more aggressive. Here are now also these Hawks, but they are also outdated fighters, and Ki-21 and Ki-48 are normally all both fast bombers. They have no armor and not many hit points, but they are fast, and so they are really not easy to catch for this old type fighters. And I can skip this because they're simply not working. Maybe they can intercept the Sonyas and Ki-30, this one engine light bombers, slow the bombers. This can work, but not twin engine fast bombers. This is maybe the better airplane to intercept, but now luckily only one fighter is here left. And one fighter is simply not enough, running out of ammunition. Can damage a little here, a little there, but nothing really with impact. So somehow there's still some Dutch bombers in the air. Luckily I have some, I mean, not the best A5 M4 cloud fighters, but against this light armed Dutch bomber formation is still useful. I know we must really bring this carrier sooner or later back to a port and change the airframe to zeros. I still have normally enough zeros to upgrade this air wings, but it's cost me time. And for only defense operations, these cloud fighters are still enough, but they are not good for. They're only short range, so they cannot support any Navy strikes. They can only protect my own carriers. So I think I skipped this because I'm not sure how many. At the end, 2 coming through. So we have 2 bombers, one make tech Tayo. Luckily I have here some flak. And also luckily Dutch pilots at this stage of the war useless. And then even my clouds can intercept these bombers and damage them or even kill them. Okay, so no Dutch airframe come home. So, oh yeah, okay. Maybe one come home. 3 attack, 2 destroyed. Yeah. Now is a big strike of this leftover British force, and unluckily I have no air force here. But this is also not a big strike normally, and it's a bunch of mixed. If I had here only a half dozen zeros, I think I can kill half of them. But yeah. And here's the second part coming. But somehow they completely failed the target. I don't know why, but nothing. No damage at all. This is my Kiryu strike force. No torpedoes left, and the sorties are also getting low. And my pilots are also a little fatigued, so I think I must at least maybe stop it, the air war for one turn. I tried to attack these destroyers, but somehow I missed them. And here's the Java. So the Java survived this battle unhurt. So this is really the only cruiser looks like can escape me. And I simply really cannot create a hit. So I lost one of my dive bombers and more this damage, and I can at least create one more hit on the light cruiser. And the other, so Java is, and Dragon was also always looks like okay. So it looks like it was, it can really happen that I miss here this cruiser formation. And the P-40s, they are not in the right position to intercept me. But my torpedo bombers, I have no torpedoes left, so I must use now dropping bombs in a level attack. And Electra get at least a hit. So, and normally one of these bombs really create a lot of damage, if I can create a hit. And the Dane also have a hit, so nice, and there's no... The deck protection is normally not good enough for this. I can even create a double hit here. Or not only triple hit. Wow. And always go down. Always can penetrate. So this light cruiser is maybe also dead. Oh, number 5 already. Number 6. Eldon, so I think then Electra, Eldon and one light cruiser. So this strike was much more successful. The dive bomber simply missed the target. So one light cruiser go down for sure. The P-40 still won't attack. And I lose one of my torpedo bombers. But okay, this is a good price. I mean, losing one torpedo bomber, but sinking a light cruisers and damage 2-3 destroyers, this I can pay. This is okay. This carrier formation have no zeros, so I have no choice but send my Kates out without protection. Luckily, luckily the P-40 was in the wrong position to intercept them, but unluckily I only find here some cargo ships, and this is normally not. Especially because I have here the torpedoes. Normally, I would normally prefer to attack destroyers or cruisers or something like this. More P-40s, but they are all again wrong position. So I can only hit here and sink here one light cargo ship. This is of course a wrong target. But no. So in the second air wing attack this other formation, but again P-40s in the air, but again they are in the wrong position. And after Electra get a bomb hit, now also torpedo hit, so Electra is for sure now dead. Not only damaged, this is now dead. But this was all, only 6. But out of 6, 1 torpedo hit, this is okay. I can accept this. So Electra is so heavy fire, heavy damage, and will sink sooner or later. Nothing more left to hunt. And something go down, and I think this is maybe Electra. So afternoon airstrike. So some of my torpedo bombers cannot attack. Weather is something, an issue. Additional bombardment. Whatever is left in Georgetown. These are my H6. I don't know exactly what they are doing here. I think this is normally a air attack on Georgetown. Normally I had them on Navy attack. But they hit nothing. So my Chojo's trying to lure out the P-40s in China, but somehow there's nothing. Maybe another day. Now the Hudsons want to attack my carriers. Hudsons are a better airplane, I would say. But if they are really enough, let's forward this because so no one can kill each other, but I can force the Hudsons to break the attack, and this is for me most important. Attack on a carrier formation is only important to break the enemy attack, not to kill them, but to simply let my carrier survive. And again, Dutch bombers. I damage them all. I can kill some, but not all of them. But I know me not to worry about this. All of these bombers getting now damaged or even killed by flak. So we have here 2 killed and some 2 more damaged. So they all low level attack, so high chance to hit, but only half, or in this case I think only, they normally carry 3 bombs, but in this case only 1 bomb. It's high chance to hit something, but if the pilots still have no skills, then they have no skills. Doesn't matter how deep I fly. If I don't know how to target the ship, then I will never hit it. So second try of my dive bomber formation. The first attack was a more or less nearly complete failure. Now again on the dragon. But somehow really my dive bombers don't want hit today. Maybe it's a weather issue because there are some heavy clouds. But I'm not so sure. Because light cruisers are a big target compared to destroyers, so I would normally say this you can hit. At least 1 out of 4. But no, simply really no hit at all. Maybe my torpedo bombers, but now we have 14 P-40s here already. So the numbers are increasingly, but the P-40s are always too late. Hit on my side either. Yeah, also not successful airstrike. At least this time my torpedo bombers attack the military target and not some shitty cheap cargo ships. But this time there's at least 1 P-40 in the right position and get rid of 3 of my torpedo bombers in very short time. So torpedo bombers are very easy targets if they have no escort. So I lost now 3 torpedo bombers. This is not so funny. It was simply a calculation or my risk I took. I hope I can create here some damage to get my 3 torpedo bombers back in value. And at least I may create here 1 hit on a destroyer. With a big explosion, so... But losing here 2 or 3 torpedo bombers for killing 1 destroyer... yeah, just so. So, air war is over. Had some kills in Malaya. Had some losses of my torpedo bombers, but yeah, I expected this more or less. In this endless sub-war. Yeah, really, what a waste. So one of my destroyers is having trouble to keep the flotation under control. Yeah, so this is reinforcements I bring in Rabaul to make sure that I can take the base. Yeah, so unluckily I cannot speed up this. This is only this invasion support bombardment. And one of my light cruisers have getting some shells, but on fire, nothing really damaged. So yeah, also not a really big impact on this outcome of battle. Only little disabled stuff, but anyway, I can unload some more units. And the same in Brunei. So landing troops here. This is this important roadway where I had some trouble before, so I bring in my 39th division, simply much more firepower than only this mixed brigade. And I hope this is enough, and yeah, this looks enough. This is this 23rd Corps Chinese combat unit, and you can see, I remove the map better here. So the units dropping to the southeast, so not away from me, just more and more in the pocket, getting pushed back to the open sea, so I can then later wipe them out even more successfully. In this case, we can see again, most is destroyed. For me, is most only disabled. I mean, this we had also with Dojo, so very similar. This is very. This is also some battle here in the mountains again. 35th Division with 2 mixed brigades to support and 2 Chinese corps here. And the Chinese can hold the position and must give up. And again, for me most disabled, for the Chinese most destroyed. And here is still some British support units are here. Normally mostly are Australian. They trying to hold the land. I have not too much stuff. I have only 2 regiments and 2 Navy Guard units, so I cannot break the enemy, but I can reduce the fort level to 0. So I think next turn I can maybe get rid of them, but I'm have here higher losses first, but kill a fort is always good. Malakaka is now under Japanese control. This will help me in the later. And now the battle of Kabul. Yeah, and now Kabul is.
Radio Tokyo, bringing you some hot music and another blow to your morale. Today, our High Command announced that the ever-victorious forces of the Japanese Empire have captured Rabaul.
And Tokyo Rose had a busy day today. This turn really one victory message after the next for Japan. Everything will works perfectly. These Australian units are now broken. Then they can run away if they want, but this have no impact. So, and this is more or less in the end of the turn. Moving some equipment, moving some resources. And here we are, 15th December. So the first week of the war is over. And now, well, I check normally first always the intelligence report, and the last 2 days I had a negative outcome in the air war. Today I think it's in favor for Japan. So we have 23 killed allies against 10 Japanese. And again, a heavy blow against the Buffaloes in Malaya, and the Dutch losing 7 more of their twin engine bombers. I lost 5 of my good torpedo bombers, yeah, but I did this and create some hits on the Navy ships, so I think this is acceptable. And the rest is all small stuff here. Yeah, so it's okay, nothing crazy good for me, but it's the right direction. But ships sunk. For this turn, for the Japanese, first nothing sunk so far. And for the Allies, the Houston, the Reuter, and the Dane go down. And that for sure. And 1 destroyer and 1 submarine plus a small cargo ship. But I think there was 1 or 2 more sinking sounds, so not sure how many more destroyers are dead or of the cruisers, if I'm lucky. Even if only this is lost, so a heavy cruiser, it's not Hampton class, it's nothing high end, but it's good cruisers, 9, 8-inch shells, guns, the typical Washington Treaty cruiser, more or less. And the Reuter, I think these are they're normally lighter, 6,500 tons. And this is a British cruiser, okay. Also only 6,000 tons. So they are all cheaper to build, but more numbers. Good. So we can first maybe go here because this is interesting. I have here 1 carrier division. Stay here more or less protected against anything else and support any attack. But I have no zeros here, so I can normally not make any escort strikes. And if I know now that here are 20 fighters, it's maybe a little too risky to attack here anything with my torpedo bombers in the next turn from this carrier division. In my other carrier division is here in the south around with the Hero. And here the torpedo bombers were successful, but my dive bombers are failing to create a really meaningful hit. What else is here? This is the Nagato is a single, not sure what. This is my cruiser formation. Somehow my cruiser formation was not took not part in any battle. Not sure why they missed the engagement somehow. And this is a Mutsu and the other destroyers. And I can now put maybe the Nagato together so that we have the original combat force, and then we can see that the Nagato is not really there was nothing with the Nagato. Every shell bonds up completely. The Mutsu on the other hand had 42 hits. None of them penetrate any armor, so we have only surface damage. So all of this damage is only, it's not major, so it means every port can fix it. And only a little engine damage. So I still have here a top speed of 20 knots. Only the system damage is a little high, but system damage is also easy to repair. But I'm completely out of ammunition. Then we have 2 destroyers with damage, but can normally survive. This is a 7-point ship with 5-inch. Normally I only care if they have 5-inch or not 5-inch. Everything what have not 5-inch is normally really second class. If it's a 5-inch, then they are for me, they have value. Here is a kind of support destroyer. Not really important. Yeah, but this two will for sure normally survive. And then we have here two other destroyers. This destroyer is, I would say, also safe. Also a better one. The fire is high, but engine and flotation is small. So I have hope that this destroyer will survive. And it's a good destroyer. Nothing super crazy, well, nice, but good. This destroyer is down to only 12 knots. Not this one. But more or less from all of the destroyers, this is the cheapest. 6.4.5 inch. And I'm not sure if I can save this one. This one is really damaged. The fire is super high. Flotation damage is over 50 and system damage is so high. So this ship is simply hard to control more. So in worst case I lose 2 destroyers. If I'm lucky I only lose 1 cheap destroyer. So I would say this Navy battle was a victory. So I will normally use now my cruiser formation and try to finish off what is left here. And use my carriers to attack this formation out of the air with maybe a little more success. So what else? In Rabaul I took the base, but I have to pick up also the rest, and it's normally a question if I can go to Port Moresby immediately or how long I need to reinforce my units to go for this kind of base. Normally I must take Port Moresby as soon as possible. The same with maybe at least Luganville I will try to catch a little earlier on, because it's a nice base, forward base. Tulagi, Luganville, these 2 bases will help me to have a easier outcome in the future. But I don't want to risk too much too early on. Malaya is no big change. So this base, or the Battle of Johor Bahru was not a success for me, but maybe next turn. I took these other bases, and I'm on the way here in the north. I must bring only my armies from the north to the south, link up, and then Singapore will fall. And here is not more much to say. No, the Chinese unit is trapped here shortly. In China we had here 1 battle in the center with success. So this unit gets kicked out, this unit is trying to escape, so I must try to catch up with this one and stop them. I'm not sure if this is possible, but I can at least try. Here was also a successful battle, but here are 19 units, so I don't know, 19 units in 20,000 is a little mismatching, especially for Chinese units, so maybe more 100,000. Maybe we'll see. And nothing or more here. Yeah, I don't know if there's really more. Miri, we had no activity, so I land in Burma, in Brunei, but this is simply picking up. I have some light cruisers coming down the road to help, but I don't know. They try to pick up maybe some cargo ships or like this. Yeah. So maybe one last check for my lost pilots. This I forgot. So I have 3 killed and 1 missing. So 4 pilots lost out of 10 airframes. This is a good ratio. And I have some more aces. No, still only 2 aces. Nah, but okay. Sooner or later I get more. Thank you all. I would say this is enough first. See you. Take care. Bye bye.